In the US, at least 150,000 warehouses are auctioned every year. These sealed rooms are like mystery boxes. If you're lucky, you could spend $100 and walk away with $1 million return. Nick is one of these warehouse hunters, but his luck is always bad. To make back his investment from buying warehouses, he even borrowed high-interest loans from gangs. This time, the warehouse manager especially promoted Warehouse 36. The tenant had paid rent for decades, but suddenly became unreachable in recent months. The manager opened the door and let everyone take a quick look. It seemed likely there were antiques. After building suspense, the auction began. Nick was determined to win Warehouse 36 and quickly raised the price from $50 to $250. But he wasn't the only one interested. In the end, Nick emptied his wallet and paid $400 to win Warehouse 36. Just as he was about to pay, the gang boss called.
Did you fuck that? Because I remember telling you not to cross county lines before settling it.
I haven't.
Huh. So my guy eyes on you was lying?
I'm here to make money, to pay you.
I want my money now, you lying piece of shit.
After hanging up, Nick gave money to the manager. They were in cahoots. The manager tipped him off about valuable warehouses, and Nick sold the items inside. But last time, the number 87 warehouse was full of fakes. He barely broke even by selling a single gold necklace. Now, he hopes the number 36 warehouse will finally turn things around.
Got my keys?
Before leaving, the manager decided to show him something. The buyer of warehouse number 36 was really strange, an old man in his 80s who only ate takeout, but every day he would slaughter over 100 rabbits and then deliver them to the warehouse on schedule. One day, while he was cutting meat, a rabbit head fell to the floor. As he bent down to pick it up, he suddenly had a heart attack and died. The manager showed Nick the surveillance footage from the warehouse, and you could see that every time the old man went in, he imitated a rabbit and hopped 3 times. Since the warehouse opened in 1945, he arrived daily. When he came out, his bag was empty. He left satisfied after imitating a bald man and hopping 3 more times.
What do you think it is? I'll dig around.
Nick didn't care what kind of monsters or demons might be inside. Nothing could be scarier than a gang's AK, but anyway. As soon as he walked out of the office, he ran into an old lady. She was there to see the manager, but not to hunt. She wanted to renew her rental and reclaim the items she had stored. It turned out she was the owner of warehouse number 87, but unfortunately, she was a little too late. The manager had already auctioned off the storage unit legally, but he told her she could try asking Nick to let her buy back the remaining items. The old lady immediately ran out to catch up with Nick. The photos and letters inside were very important to her, so she wanted them back. After all, even if Nick kept them, they wouldn't fetch much money. However, Nick was already in a bad mood, and faced with the old lady's persistence, he just made an outrageous demand.
You can have what's left in there.
I make this money in a month cleaning.
Here. This is yours. Bet you can still use it.
Nick ignored the old lady's curses and turned to stand in front of warehouse number 36. At this moment, she couldn't wait to find out whether the things inside would bring her a big profit. However, when she went in, she discovered that this warehouse was actually smaller than the others, and there wasn't much stored inside. So Nick immediately went to the manager to complain, but he told her that these warehouses were built in 1940, and each one is a different size. Nick was willing to accept the loss and had no choice but to admit defeat. Just as he was about to go back, the administrator suddenly told him to return the remaining things to the old lady.
This lady, she's too good. The game has rules. You win some, you lose some. Look at me. I did what I had to for this country.
How the fuck do you bring that into every conversation?
I bought that unit fair and square. So fuck you, fuck her, and fuck this guilt trip!
It turns out he was a Vietnam War veteran. The war left him deaf in his left ear and turned him into an extremely arrogant racist. It wasn't that he didn't want to help the old lady. He simply discriminated against this Mexican immigrant. Nick went back to Unit 36 to continue sorting through the items inside, and unexpectedly, he actually found some valuable things. First, there was a candlestick that looked like it was made of gold. Then he found a photo album filled with pictures of Nazi soldiers, something an antique shop might be willing to pay a high price to collect. Finally, in the deepest part of the storage unit, he discovered a few strange items, a hoop woven from wool, 2 intricately carved antique chairs, and a round table painted with a pentagram. He immediately took all these things with him. Maybe just selling one of these items would be enough to pay off his debt. But as soon as he loaded the things into his car,
It's okay. Tomorrow.
You made your fucking point.
Now I made my point.
Nick not only got beaten up, but also has to spend extra money to fix his car. Talk about bad luck. At that moment, he noticed the old lady was still waiting outside the office, so he just kicked her out and went inside to take care of his wounds. Seeing how miserable he looked, the manager couldn't help but feel a little sorry for him, so he recommended Nick to go to an antique shop where the owner would pay more. Nick patched up his car window with some tape. He immediately headed to the antique shop where the owner carefully examined the items he brought. The candlestick was made of gold, but the material was rough and the craftsmanship was poor, so it couldn't fetch a high price. However, the round table really caught the owner's eye.
It's a seance table.
Like Ouija board seance?
A bit more serious than that.
As he gently ran his fingers over the patterns, he realized they were all hand-carved. Suddenly, he triggered a mechanism and opened a hidden compartment inside the round table. Inside were 3 ancient books that looked valuable. This wasn't the shop owner's area of expertise, but he had a friend who would recognize them. However, Nick was even more curious about the woven flower pattern. The shop owner showed a strange smile and told him to lean in and take a sniff.
Can you guess the material?
Wool.
Human hair. Smell?
Yeah, no thanks.
I'll go call my guy about the books.
Not long after, a medium walked into the antique shop. He really was an expert. With just one glance, he said that the original book came from 19th century Austria and was used to summon demons and spirits. When Nick brought out those 3 books, the medium was so shocked he was left speechless. These 3 books are extremely rare, worth at least $10,000, but compared to them, the 4th book is even more valuable.
How much for all 4?
If placed at the right auction with multiple buys in excess of $300,000.
The medium told Nick, the reason the 4th book is so expensive isn't just because it's rare. The first 3 books talk about how to summon demons, but the 4th book explains how to seal them. Normally, after a person finishes a deal with a demon, this book will burn up and disappear, except in one situation, if the demon is betrayed, doesn't get paid, and is forcibly kept in a human world.
If we find the missing 4th volume, I will write you a check for $300,000.
As soon as Nick heard that, what was he waiting for? He immediately took the medium and rushed to Warehouse 36. If he really found the 4th book, not only could he pay off all his debts, he could even completely turn his life around. On the way there, the medium revealed some secrets that no one else knew. He knew a bit about the original owner of Warehouse 36. The old man used to produce steel in Europe and made a fortune. Then after World War II, he moved his whole family to the United States to manufacture tank-piercing shells. But he sold all those weapons to Germany. Nick had seen those photos in the warehouse before, so he knew the old man wasn't a good person. If the spirit communication book really worked, then the source of his vast wealth would make sense.
And he invoked an entity, offered it a vessel to occupy, to possess his sister. Dottie Volmar, I believe, was her name.
Nick didn't hear a single word he just said, because the moment he hearing 300,000, his mind went completely blank. Before entering the warehouse, the medium told him to light the candle first. This candlestick was made from special materials, and when the flame was lit, the demon wouldn't be able to harm them.
No offense, but shut the fuck up.
After entering the warehouse, Nick immediately started searching everywhere. There used to be a lot of stuff in the room, but he had already loaded it all onto the truck and thrown it out, so now there was nothing left. But even after moving almost everything, he still couldn't find it. Just then,
It's hollow. You heard that?
Help me with this thing.
Nick half opened a piece of furniture in the room and discovered a hidden door behind a wall. After prying open the lock, he swung the door open.
What is that?
In my field, we call it effluvia.
Oh, man.
The medium spoke as he lit the candelabrum in his hand. Before going in, he specifically warned Nick not to touch anything and not to say a word. If there's anything supernatural inside, whatever you do, don't make eye contact with it.
I'm pretty sure that's 2 pieces of advice, and you don't know shit about me, so fuck off.
The medium Yensher led the way in front, holding up a candlestick. The 2 of them carefully made their way through the pitch-black corridor, seeing that the surroundings were covered with statues of Jesus. Pages from the Bible had even been torn out and stuck to the walls one by one, as if to form some kind of barrier. As the 2 of them reached the end, the medium was shocked to discover a human-like figure lying on the ground. This must be the missing Duodi. Walmart, the demon that was summoned, was now inside.
There it is.
Do not cross that line.
Fuck this, I'm going for the book.
As Nick destroyed the magic circle, the pentagram in the center began to glow continuously, but at that moment, all he could see was that magic book worth 300,000. Huge tentacles stretched out from the shell. Seeing this, Nick quickly hid behind the medium, but without the protection of the candlestick, the tentacles wrapped around the medium and dragged him straight down. The 4th book in Nick's hand was also completely burned up. Terrified, he turned and ran out of the warehouse. But after the deal, the demon didn't disappear. Instead, it quickly chased after him. Nick hurriedly took a detour toward the exit, only to find the main door was already closed. The demon's roars were getting closer and closer when suddenly a figure appeared outside. It was that old lady. He immediately pleaded for her to open the door and let him out. The old lady seemed to understand, but to Nick's astonishment, she actually hung the sawed-off lock back onto the door, then stared at him as she slowly disappeared. Seeing that there was no hope of escape, Nick tried to find a place in the warehouse to hide, but the demon had already caught up to him.